zero. Let's start the party.
Is now the ultimate power in the universe.
And we're back, lovelies. We're back in action. I relaunched, but you couldn't hear it. So welcome back. If you are just joining us for the first time, this is Ria Bow on Sun Radio. Yes, we've had our usual, well, not our usual, more than average tech problems, but we are back. Just give us an okay. I'm not sure we've got Oh, you can't make this stuff up, I've got to say. Nan, can you hear me okay? And just let me know in the chat that you can hear us okay. Yeah, thank you, lovely. Okay, we've got that Joss Ambrose back on. We're having a tech nightmare. If it carries on, I'll just shut the whole thing down because it's just going to be too painful for you, lovelies. Let's go over to buffering now. It's a mad world, isn't it? You need the patience of the saint and the tenacity of a warrior to get through this sometimes. Nan, has it or has it not been a good week in the island of Ireland?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me, guys? Yeah, bit of rubber banding going on, a bit of echo on the line for me, but I'm far ahead because I'm just assuming you can hear me. And yeah, I've been watching the chat there. Some great questions coming in from the chat about whether Ireland supported Leo Varadkar, and also about visiting the UN website there from Sassy Frass. The UN website and read the goals. Everything discussed here so far is UN goals implemented. Sassy Frass is correct. I have some stuff on that as well, because I think we sort of we can talk about the ins and outs of how this is panning out on the ground with regard to the people. And I think the last show you did there, Ria, with Silo, when you were talking about the Tommy Robinson video, I was listening to that and it was so powerful. But that's how this stuff is panning out on the ground. And there was another good question there about how was immigration affecting Ireland. And the thing about it is that we have all the political parties on the one side. We have the NGOs here in Ireland are absolutely way out of control. We have an organisation called ENAR Ireland, which is the European Network Against Racism. So every single thing that we hear is couched in the racist, with the racist inverted commas around it. So we're very, very difficult. It's very difficult for Irish people to get the voice out. There's only one side of this story being told in Ireland, and it is the globalist, one world and bureaucratic EU, federal states of Europe, and they're acting as if Ireland is already a federal state of Europe. So the chat are very onto this, Ria. I can see it there. They're talking about the UN. Now, I want to talk about the UN as well, because I believe that the UN is flying under the radar here, because we have Agenda 2030, Agenda 21, but we also have Agenda 65 as well, which nobody has mentioned. Agenda 65. Now, this has been planned for a very long time. It's affecting all of the Western world, not just us. Canada are in big trouble as well. Depends on who your leader is and how strong this presence is on the ground. You guys in the UK are doing something here that I think is almost symbolic in its nature with this Brexit issue. Now, I have a funny feeling there's more to the Brexit than just the vote of the people. So I'm going to say something controversial here, that the vote of the people do not matter to these people, and you have to understand that. So the question becomes, how does the vote of the people regain its strength that it used to have, because they want to get rid of it. Now, the other thing that's happening in Ireland is that we have some stats from the Central Statistics Office, just generally overview. About 18% of people in Ireland are not from Ireland. 20% in Dublin alone. Now, I believe that it's much less in the UK over 40, 50 years or whatever your history is. But we in Ireland don't have that history. So in a very small space of time, and you're talking maybe 10 years, 15 years, we have exceeded the levels that you guys have. There's a tipping point. I was looking for the tipping point. I keep talking about it because the more people you import that doesn't come from your culture, has no connection with Ireland, doesn't understand Ireland, and is here for whatever they can get, basically, the less the vote is affected. So by importing so many people, these people are going to vote for the parties that took them in the first place. So the voice of the Irish people is going to get less and less. And I'm sure you do understand, but we are a very small country, 4.8 million people. Now, I'm sure that one of your cities in the UK has probably more than that. I don't have the stats, but I do know that one of your cities has more people than the whole of Ireland. So the significance of the numbers are magnified when you're talking about a very, very small country. And, you know, there's a bit of a thing out there that we are a test case here to see how this is going to work. Now, the other thing is, well, the timing, it's very ripe here because all of the parties are on the same page. And as I said, we have no alternative media and we have a vitriolic jackboot on our necks with regard to the voice of those people in Ireland who would have issues with the EU and would have issues with the UN and global agenda and deny that it existed, who refuse to do any sort of investigative journalism with regard to actually what's happened, never mind the social consequences of what's happening, because it's massive. This is massive, you know. Now, I want to just cover a Guy Verhofstadt tweet. We just want to put you guys onto the Guy Verhofstadt person. He's one of these EU people who's tasked with managing this agenda. I'm not going to find his just 1 second there, Ria. Just cover for me for a second, please.
Yeah, no problem at all, guys. I'm going to take the chat. I can only apologise if it really does become a problem for you listeners. I'm going to do it. I'm going to reroute the proxy, okay? And that would take me about 5 minutes.
Okay, got it.
Okay, you got it. Here we go.
Back again. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not very good with the tech here. That's my issue, is the tech. So please forgive me if there's little bits of dead air, because I think the button I have to press when I speak gets in the way of me scrolling. I'm sure somebody will help me with it. But anyway, Guy Verhofstadt put out a tweet there, and I keep it up all the time, because not only is the EU becoming a federalist bureaucratic nightmare. Verhofstadt has come out and said, and he's on record as saying that the EU is too big. There's too many states in it. There's too many voices. In other words, the members of parliament, the MEPs and so forth, need to be got rid of. And a smaller group needs to be at the core of the EU. Now, there you go. The voice of the people gone even further. And not only that, okay, but there's something else here as well. And it's got to do with something called Aldi Pack. Now, I don't want to actually turn people off here, but very quickly, it's got to do with this. Let's create a single Euro-African economic area. It would have an enormous potential that remains untapped. 1.5 billion consumers and 20 trillion in value, able to rival with China. I'm going to read it again. Let's create a single Euro-African economic area. It would have an enormous potential that remains untapped. 1.5 billion consumers, 20 trillion in value, able to rival with China. Now, if you think about that, that's what's happening here. There's this EU passport. The UN are. I have stuff on it. I'm not going to get around it today, but I have looked at it. The EU are big in Africa. And this, I know that Ireland is taking in a huge amount of people from Africa and from Afghanistan and Pakistan, I believe, as well. It's not possible for us to get any information on this because in Ireland you can't speak about the nationality of anybody. So we're not actually being told where the people are coming from, but I managed to glean that from general conversation. So this African thing is massive. Now there's out in the media as well, and I have it here, but I'm not going to find it, is the number of people in Africa who are classed as being up for, I suppose, migration. So we're in a very serious situation here, Ria, to be honest with you.
Right, yeah, sorry, I wasn't ready for that on the end. God, it's a serious situation as well. Let me get some of the chats. There's loads of lovelies, loads of questions and everything going on. So bear with me a second. Let me wind it. There was a load of questions. We lost it on the stream, guys. What I'm looking at here, I might need to do a new proxy routing, but we're going to get it in here. Have we got anything in context to Ireland? The Irish have been signed out for genocide, says John McDermott. Wow, that is a really strong. Thank you, John, and thank you for joining us. Sassafras, Americans are trying to fight back against. Oh, right, that's out of context. Let me go back up to see if I can find some Irish ones. Joss Ambrose asked, is the Irish water fluoridated or not, Nan?
Yes. The answer to that question is yes. I do need to bring you back to I will go back to the Gemma O'Doherty anti-corruption platform that's just been launched as well later on, Ria.
Okay, no problem. All right, I'll jump in with another one. So there's your answer for that one, Joss. I'm trying to go back up the chat to find out the Irish questions. And we're trying to cover... Nanon, is it true there was 23,000 new build housing development which did not sell because of bad economics and where those houses were demolished? Is that true or not, Nan? Do you know?
Sorry, Ria, didn't hear that question. You're still breaking up for me a little bit. Sorry about that. Can you just repeat that question, please?
Okay. So there was 23,000 houses allegedly built, and apparently they didn't sell, so they were knocked down. If you can't hear me this time, I'm gonna reroute the stream through another proxy so it's not painful for the listeners.
Yeah, sorry, Ria, I can't actually hear you. You're breaking up really badly. Sorry about that.
Right, guys, I'm going to reroute it. Right, the time is 2:45 PM. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Keep an eye. We'll be back. I'm going to reroute the stream through another proxy. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Keep a YouTube channel, Ria Bow. Sorry, guys, I'm going to try and repair this.